Hi, welcome to West Coast Acadian. I am Amanda Ramsey. I'm the host of this podcast. I write, I research, I do all the things for this podcast. And this is my second episode. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. And I'm currently coming to you from Terrace, British Columbia, Canada, which is the unceded and traditional territories of the Tsimshian nations. Specifically, the 𝐂𝐀 and 𝐓𝐴 are my neighbors. I'm just very thankful, and I feel privileged to live here and to enjoy how much I get to learn from all of the local cultures. I grew up here. I was born about, depending on how you drive, 45 minutes away. I was born in 𝐂𝐀, BC, and I have lived in a bunch of the communities across the Northwest. So I have an interesting perspective about the Northwest. And I also have experience and knowledge in a bunch of these different communities. So I'm excited. I'm excited to eventually share more about where I live with you. But today is going to be a special episode to honor mothers of all kinds. I don't know if you knew this, but the Tsimshian nations are typically matriarchal, matrilineal. So your heritage is passed down to you by your mother. And I thought that was really cool growing up. And only in the last 10 years or so have I done a bunch of research into my own heritage and found out that genetically and culturally, I am linked to several groups from Europe that also likely, because we can't know for sure, we don't know anybody who practices that culture right now. Do you know what I mean? So for the most part, there's several that are marked for likely matrilineal, if not then matriarchal cultures, or the inverse. Anywho, you know what I'm saying, right? I think you do. You're a smart cookie. I mean, this channel is for smart cookies. So now I'm not wearing makeup today, so this is what I look like without makeup. My son says I'm prettier without it, so I promised him my next episode I would not wear any, and so this is that. The other thing is that today we're going to share other people's stories. Why? Because as my gift to you, whether you are a mother to be, what have you, these stories will make you feel like a good one. The first set of stories we are going to chat about is from the Reddit thread Mommet. This was a question posted about a year ago. The question is from Bookaholic Forever. What's your funniest parenting fail? Just wondering, what parenting fail do you look back on and laugh at? And I thought these would be great stories for moms because you know what? There's some things that aren't just my mistake. You know, they seem to be like a universal mistake that multiple parents make across generations. So let's review some of these and find out some people's funniest parenting fails. From ThrowRA388505. This post is about a year old. They say, I can kind of laugh about it now, just because nothing horrible happened, even though it could have. Sometimes I laugh about it, sometimes I cry about it. When my daughter was a year old, shortly after she started toddling, I had a really bad lapse in judgment one time. Give yourself a break, okay? Like you're like, I had a really bad lapse of judgment. Listen, dude, we've all had like sleep deprivation as parents. We've all kind of like found that edge of sanity, I think. When you've had a kid, you discover it real quick, especially in that first 3 months or so. You are tested by the universe, okay? Go easy on yourself. I'm sure it'll be terrifying, but okay. And also, I think maybe I need light. Do I need some light on me? I think I do. I'm too pale for this. All right, here we go. We were going to the IMAX movie at the aquarium. And the way they had it set up was you had to rent a free stroller lock up your stroller, then take the elevator or stairs downstairs to where the theater was. The strollers were locked up right across from the elevators, about 10 to 15 feet. We were standing in the elevator, and I realized that I hadn't grabbed something out of the stroller that I needed. I think I needed my debit card to buy popcorn at the concession stand or something like that, since it was just a 2-second thing. I didn't want to deal with carrying her over there or toddling with her or what have you, because it would take much longer. Just as an impulse, I guess, I pressed the elevator open button, then sprinted over to grab my debit card. But as I turned around, literally 1.5 seconds later, I saw the doors closing. I gasped, and she started screaming and crying, looking right in my eyes. I didn't know if I should dash down the stairs or if I should stand there and wait for it to come back. I was having all sorts of horrible thoughts, like, what if she tried to leave and the doors closed on her, or her hand, or her fingers? That was my biggest fear. What if the doors opened downstairs and people saw her in there by herself and called the police or kidnapped her? I kept frantically hitting the elevator button. It seemed like an hour, but it was probably 30 seconds. It was one of those moments where all you can hear is your own heart beating. The elevator came back and she was on it, alone and screaming. She was fine 5 minutes later, and we made the movie with no more incidents. Thank you for sharing. That is awesome. We've all had those. That is not rare. That's a little anxiety inducing, but nah, it doesn't mark you for, you know, crap mom of the year. You're okay. You'll be all right. This is actually way more common. This is a deleted username comment on the story I just read you. When I was about 3, my aunt worked at a research lab, and I snuck away onto the elevator. They had to split up since they didn't know if I'd gone up or down. They found me in the basement a few minutes later with a sweet college student happily showing me the dead bodies in the morgue. Now that I think about it, that might have had an influence on why I love horror so much. I hear you. I hear you. That is awesome. caycan posted a year ago. I went camping for my husband's birthday. The morning of his birthday, I snuck out with the baby so that he could have a little sleep in. I guess I was too quiet because I came face to face with a black bear. About 10 feet away, but still too close for comfort. The bear looked at the fussing baby with a little too much curiosity. I speed walked back to the campsite and almost threw the baby at my husband in the camper before getting my dog inside. Turns out it's a bad idea to be quiet with your baby in the Rockies. My husband never got that birthday sleep in. And Zucchini Queen 1 responded, OMG, this made me sick to my stomach. Thank God you were all okay. That's so cute. I love it because I'm Canadian and this is like super normal too, randomly stumbling across wildlife. I think it's also a very North American thing. I don't think it's just Canadians, but I think we do have a special selection of wildlife that's terrifying. You know, like moose. I think they're more scary than bears, actually. I've had multiple run-ins with bears, and I've never had a problem run-in. But every run-in I've had with a moose has gone so unpredictably. I don't know if it went badly or well. I mean, I came away from it, so there's that. But anywho, like one of them was I was driving out of the campus of UNBC, so the University of Northern British Columbia, and it's based in Prince George. And it's up a big hill called University Way, and it's right on the cusp of like beautiful park ground. And there's even a place up there called Forest for the World. Great wildlife stuff up there. They even do research up there. And so I was just like driving home one night. It was like a late spring night. I did political science studies. So like I always had that one, 7 to 9 class kind of thing, or 7:30 to 9:30 class. And so I'd be ripping out of there, especially in the spring. And I'd be coming around the oval, if you know, you know. And I'd hang a right to get out of the oval to go to the main University Way road. And literally, there's always this lush greenery. It's always so beautiful and big and poofy. And I would come right around this like enclosed parking lot. I think that's more for like, I think residents and stuff like that back then. I don't think it's for that anymore. But anywho, and just as I urge along, coming out of the bushes, this giant multi-prong antlered moose. And I might be wrong. It might have been the fall. It was the fall or the spring, because this dude had a big rack, huge rack. And he was so darn tall. I was driving an old Jeep Cherokee. Not a Jeep Grand Cherokee. It was a Jeep Cherokee, and it was one of the ones that was like the last year they made it. It was like a 93 or something. And so I'm driving this like thing, and it's like a tuna can. Like it's a Jeep. It's like a box of metal basically back then, or that model. And this moose, if he had wanted to, he was crossing on the crosswalk in front of me. He could have stepped over my hood. That's how tall he was. Like once you start to see that stuff, like as a kid, you grow up in Canada going, yes, moose big, very bad, very scary. Okay, mom, I will avoid moose. But then you're driving one day and you see a moose and it's just minding its business and you're just minding your business and you interact and you're like, whoa. And dude looks at you through like his left eyeball because they're on the sides. They're scary, but they don't have predator eyes. Don't ask me. And he's just like, sup. And still, I would have pet him. If I hadn't needed to be somewhere pretty quickly, I would have pet him. But I had to go to work, so... I don't know, animals like me, so it's cool. I like them too. All right. Should I read any more? A deleted addition to this thread, or a deleted username addition to this thread, posted about a year ago. I was very tired one morning and was trying to get breakfast made while my daughter played. This was a few weeks ago. I'm also pregnant, so my brain isn't all there. Girl, my brain has not been back since I was pregnant, so I hear you. She says, I forgot to change her diaper after getting up for the day, and I seen her toddling around the house having fun. Next thing I know, she doesn't have pants or a diaper on, and she's just running around peeing wherever she went. Peeing wherever she went. There's probably many more, but that one was quite funny / awful, LOL. My mom babysat for us one time and decided to say we should take back the diapers we brought because they fit weird. She just put them on backwards, LOL. This one is rotating Ruhnama, Ruhnama, about a year ago. I knew Indigenous Peoples Day was a holiday, so I thought it would be nice that my husband would be off work and school would be closed and we could all relax at home as a family. You can see where this is going, right? School wasn't closed. I pretty much forgot to send my kid to school. Whoops. You know what? Sometimes you just have to do that. Sometimes you just got to keep the kids at home because you need a day together. And I honestly think it's really good for our mental health. And I think it's really good for their mental health. And I think sometimes when you choose a day where they would normally go to school and they expect to go to school, it's an extra treat. BubbleBathB word posted a year ago. My wearable breast pump motor popped off and bumped him on the head. Luckily, it was a short drop, so I don't think it hurt him, just scared him. Poor little fella. Bookaholic Forever responded and said, I've dropped my phone on my kid's head more than once, LMAO. So that was from the Reddit thread /Mommet. This Reddit thread is from r/parenting, and Don't Panic 83 posted 2 years ago. What is the funniest mistake you've made with knackered parent brain? They have a toddler, 1 to 3 years old at the time of posting. Posting this in hope of solidarity from other knackered parents. My husband just discovered that he left our push chair on the street yesterday and drove away without it. It's taken us almost 24 hours to even notice. It's gone now, obviously. What are the most ridiculous mistakes you've made when you're exhausted? Tell me we aren't alone. Mom to Surprises posted 2 years ago. Was packing a quick baby bag to go shopping with my twins. So just usual diapers, bottles, spare clothes. 2-month-olds. They're both twins. The bag was on the dresser where I changed them both, and I was putting stuff on the dresser, then into the bag. I accidentally picked my son up and put him in the bag, then put the diapers on top of him. I went to grab them both to put in the stroller before I zipped the bag up after one final check, but realized my son had turned into a change of clothes. Looked in the bag and he was just laying there smiling up at me on top of some wet white packets under some diapers. Don't think he would have been all smiles if I had zipped it up and hung it over my shoulder. Edit. My top comment is now me putting my son in a bag because I was so tired. LOL. Thanks, Reddit. Heart emoji. Some of the comments. Bookstay says, OMG, hahaha, how big was the bag / how small was your son? Mom to Surprises responded saying, my bag is a gym style bag because I like to carry doubles due to having twins. My son is average size for a 2-month-old. They are both growing very fast. You wouldn't think they were twins due to the fact that they aren't as small as twins normally are. Another comment was, this is hilarious. I really needed this laugh today. Sounds like he thought it was a fun new game. Haha. And Mom to Surprises responded, yeah, I don't think he did, unfortunately. He's just a potato if he's not crying or grunting. Not a thought going on behind those eyes. Oh my God. I don't know what's funnier. The fact that you posted that story or the fact that you responded like that as a parent, as a mom. Like, whoa. And somebody else had a similar thought. They said, wrong, LOL. Babies are not just blobs with no thoughts or wants. Actually, a documentary style show on Netflix. Very interesting, but babies' brains light in the same manner as an adult would in the same regions, showing thought processes, etc. So nope, not really a blob with no thoughts. LOL. I think they went a little too literal, but anyways. And then there was a bunch more responses. You win. Amazing. I am cackling. This is the single best story I've ever seen on Reddit. And as a response to this story, a Redditor called Rather Poetic responded 2 years ago. This is the single best story I've ever seen on Reddit. And then they responded with their own story to their comment. I was at a party sitting on the couch with my mom, husband, and a few aunts and cousins. One cousin walks through the room, and the last time I saw her, she was holding my baby. So I asked, where's my baby? No one answered me, and they all just kind of looked at me. So I asked again, where is my baby? Still, just everyone is staring at me. So I'm freaking out. Where is my baby? My husband finally says, you're nursing her? Yeah, literally, she was sucking on my nip knot and I still couldn't find her. Shrug emoji. Another comment, 𝐂𝐀9291, 2 years ago said, nip nop, love that. Laughing, crying emojis. That's so good. I'm taking that too. That was awesome. Here's another one in our parenting. So many times by 𝐂𝐲𝐿𝐴. So many times I put my breast pump on without the bottles attached and pumped breast milk directly onto my lap. One time I did that while cleaning and walked around for nearly 5 minutes, leaving a trail of milk behind me. I popped a pacifier into my husband's mouth and he just let me. That's funny. He stood there for probably a good 3 seconds, blinking at me with it in his mouth before either of us realized what was going on. We've both tried to snooze the baby monitor. That's funny. I handed our daughter to my husband after a change and he said, I think you forgot something. What? She's changed. I put the diaper in the pail. She's got a fresh sleeper on. What do you want from me? She's not wearing a diaper. Yeah, see? See? Mom of the year, aren't you? 𝐂𝐿𝐴 also responds and says, I just asked my husband and he reminded me of a time when he was nap-tapped and watching Star Trek on his tablet off to the side. He got a low battery warning on his tablet and in his head he thought, oh no, I can't plug my tablet in without waking up the baby. I need 𝐂𝐿𝐴 to plug it in for me so I can finish this episode of Star Trek. What came out of his mouth was, oh no, Star Trek. I get it. Star Trek is good. More people need to watch Star Trek, and all those people who are diehard, like Star Wars people, open your mind a little more. Try Star Trek. And maybe your fails will be as funny as this. A deleted username commented, why use many word when few do trick? Also, is your username a play on C'est la vie? And the Redditor confirmed it is. A deleted username, and I understand why now, because it's just a one-liner story. 2 years ago posted, made my coffee using baby formula. Book Nerd 381 said, made my coffee without a cup. Dogs had a good time licking it off the floor. Leader Hosen says, I did this twice in a row. And 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴, hold on. 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴 says, I have done this so many times. I once didn't even notice until I went to go make a cup an hour later, forgetting I had just attempted to do so earlier that morning. Oh, I feel so much less crazy. This is awesome. Whew. Shush Pup 23 says, I poured the creamer in the trash and threw the little cups in my coffee. Orange Blue Turquoise says, I did this with eggs, cracked one right into the trash and put the shell in the mixing bowl. That same week, I put a teaspoon of salt in my coffee. Oh, Lurky the Lurkerson said, I almost did this a few times with breast milk, but caught myself. But I did make my coffee with egg whites 1 or 2 times. FYI, the small cartons of egg whites from Costco are the same size as the quart carton of half and half. Gross. This was in the early sleep deprived stage of being a new parent, and it really ruined my morning when it happened. LOL. I bet. I bet that would ruin anybody's morning unless you're like Gaston or someone. Oh my God, that's so funny. I have several times in stories where like I put the milk in the cupboard and the cereal in the fridge and the milk goes bad because you've left it in the cupboard all day, or I left it in the cupboard all day. So yeah, I've done that before. I've also seen people who have also made their coffees and stuff with like breast milk and such. So don't feel bad. You're not the only one. You're not alone. No, you're not. You're not alone. New ad 7170 says, there is such a thing as egg coffee, though. You were going somewhere with this. Blech. Ha ha ha, I should have given it a try after all. I just remember being so upset that I dumped everything in the sink and had a good cry. I think I was running late somewhere and didn't have time to make more. Or the baby was crying and the coffee mistake pushed me over the edge that morning. The early days of a new baby are wild, LOL. Yeah. Yeah, they are. All right. Short little last story from Some De Wood. In a sleepy daze, I mistakenly put the medicine measuring cup in the sterilizer. We were stumped as to its whereabouts. I found it the following day. It was all melted and warped. I called out to hubby and held it up like a trophy, and we both burst out laughing. I kept it in my son's memory box. It's a reminder of how challenging things were, and this gave us some very much needed laughter break. Begins with Angst. Commented on this story and said, my parents have a cluster of bottle nipples melted together due to similar mishap. It is a treasured piece of modern art. Ha ha. And there's a silent H said, same thing happened to my Perry bottle, but I didn't keep it. You know, there's nothing like a mistake that melts plastic. Recently I had like a bin of, what was it? I think it was a bin of camping gear, and I had it next to an electric heater, and I didn't realize how hot the electric heater could get. Like I've had electric heaters before, but I've never had them get this hot. Like these ones are, I don't know what's up with them. I think they're, anyways. And so it can get a little too hot, and there's like this side of a plastic bin now. It's just this like melted hole of plastic. But the rest of the bin's fine. Like it's still shaped right. It didn't warp. It just like melted a hole in this Tupperware bin. Like it's a huge Tupperware bin. And now I'm just using it as my donation bin, like for clothing that I want to either take to a secondhand store or that I want to take to sell on consignment, for example. I'll put it in that plastic bin because it's got a hole in it. Like I can't really use it for anything else. But I don't want to throw it away because it's still kind of totally usable, right? Like, it's just usable. So why throw it away? The whole reduce, reuse, recycle, repurpose, and there's a bunch more R's, I think. I mean, in my day, there were only 3. So we've come a long way. And I hope that these repurposed stories and make you feel a little better about being a mom, or even being a guardian, or being any kind of parent or mentor, or even just a human in general, because we all make mistakes. Somehow I think becoming a mom just means we're now determined to make even more mistakes, because now we've increased the potential, right? By adding like another whole other human into the mix who has their own feelings and their own experiences and their own way of doing things. And they're not even a whole human yet. And they have no way to communicate with us except to like, you know, like I think that parents are the ultimate configurers of the scientific method, because being a mom, being a guardian, being a parent means trying over and over and over again, regardless of how many times you fail, to keep this beautiful soul in the world and to keep them safe and ideally happy and healthy, and to do what you can and what you're able to get access to. And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous, but it's humbling. And I wanted to share it with you. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was fun and not too anxiety inducing for everyone. Remember to like, follow, subscribe. And if you go to my website, 𝑦𝐿_𝐶𝐴, you can also subscribe to my e-newsletter or my email newsletter, electronic. I'll have announcements and all that fun stuff in a regular form, probably once a month. Like, probably not too big a deal. I'm hoping to use them more as a summary of, this is what I did this month. So stay tuned. Follow me in your favorite media platform, modes of technology, whatever is your way of following. Please do. I'd appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll come back.